Donald Trump has once again been elected President of the United States of America. If you don't like that, should you leave the United States? Should you move to Portugal? Should you move to another country? The answer is no. And if election results are your only reason for moving to another country, or even if it's your top reason for moving to another country, then congratulations. You are a hopeless, irredeemable idiot. My name is Howie. This is Positively Portugal. Let's get into it. You can move somewhere. You can move somewhere far away. I've done that a few times. The United States is a big country. I've moved from New York to Arizona. I've moved from Arizona back to New York. I moved from New York to North Carolina. I moved from North Carolina to Florida. Was there a cost? Yeah, there was a cost. I'm not talking about financially, although, yeah, there's definitely a cost financially to that. It's not cheap moving. But the cost was my life. Not in terms of, I died. Obviously, I didn't die. I'm still here. But my life, I gave up my life. I gave up the people around me. When I left New York, and I've left New York twice, I gave up my family. When I left Arizona and North Carolina, and now I'm leaving Florida, I'm going to be giving up friends. I've been fortunate that wherever I've gone, I've been able to rebuild my life. And not once has it ever crossed my mind to leave somewhere because I don't like certain election results. And let's say you're doing this move internationally. You meet people, maybe you're making friends. Somebody will ask you, so why'd you leave the United States? And you say something ridiculous like, I didn't want Donald Trump to be my president, Orange Man bad. You know what that person's going to tell you? I'm not a security blanket. My country is not a security blanket. My culture is not a security blanket. Do you have any idea how insulting, demeaning, and degrading it is to a country, to people of that country you move to, when you say you're moving because you don't like election results? You're not a refugee. You're not escaping persecution. I know a lot of people like to think they're escaping persecution, but they aren't. This isn't a matter of government being overthrown somewhere. This isn't what happened in Cuba. And I'm not necessarily just limiting what I'm saying to be about the United States. This doesn't have to involve the United States at all. What if I was from Canada or Australia or the UK? I still wouldn't be leaving anywhere because of the results of an election. When you move internationally, it needs to come from your heart. It needs to come from a place of positivity, of happiness. Because if it doesn't, it means that you're not embracing the new. You're running away from the old. And what happens after you're there for a certain time? You've made friends. Maybe you've even gotten romantically involved with somebody in your new country. Let's say it's Portugal. And then there's an election. And maybe Chega wins a few seats. Or maybe it's the other way around and People, Animals, and Nature, that party, has a good day at the office for the election. And that upsets you. So, Portugal is a small country. Are you going to leave Portugal because you don't like certain election results? Well, are you going to leave behind the people that you've made friends with? The people who have accepted you? Because you don't like a few election results? You're going to abandon your life for a second time and go somewhere else? At some point, guess what? It's not about election results. It's about you. You're the problem. I always think back to a trip I took to Lisbon in 2018. I met up with a friend of mine from New York, and we decided to share the cost of a hotel room. It would be cheaper for us. And we were going along Pink Street one day in Lisbon, and we found a Mexican restaurant that we wanted to have lunch in. I think it was like a block off of Pink Street. I don't think it was actually on Pink Street, and I may be wrong about that. I've always wondered what happened to that restaurant. It was Mexican, but it had a really cool theme to it. It was big into the Mexican wrestling, the lucha libre. They had masks and like a kind of a ring set up there. Just a pretty cool vibe. The food was all right. You can definitely get better Mexican in the United States, but I mean, it wasn't anything bad. Like if I was a local, sure, I would have gone back. And inside the restaurant, my friend and I met a woman and her parents. The woman lived in Lisbon, and her parents were visiting her. I want to say that they were from California, but I don't really remember too much about it. The reason I don't remember too much about it was I don't know if they heard my friend and I speaking or if we heard them speaking, but somehow the five of us just started talking with each other. We were seated next to one another, and it was a chance encounter, a chance meeting. Usually when things like that happen, it's pleasant. And her parents were very nice people. But this woman who moved to Lisbon, she was working at a law firm. I don't know if it was a Portuguese law firm, an international law firm that had an office in Lisbon. And to be very frank, I never even got her name. Maybe she told me, but all I got from this woman, this was in 2018, just nonstop bitching, moaning, and groaning about Donald Trump. He was the president from January 2017 to January 2021. So it was right in the middle of his presidency. And this woman is just babbling incessantly. Can't even enjoy my enchilada. I have no idea what her interests were. I don't know what she liked doing, where she liked going. I don't know if she enjoyed being in Lisbon. I don't know if she enjoyed being in Portugal. All I can remember was this was the most miserable human being I have ever met. There was no happiness in her whatsoever. And she must have been hard to live with at home. I won't forget her parents' reaction to her non-stop, never-ending soliloquy about American politics. The mother didn't really have much to say. The father tried to, move the conversation away from politics. She wouldn't stop. And eventually, he's just looking down. He's looking down at the table. He's looking down at the floor. They're both embarrassed of her. And it's just amazing that it never occurred to this woman to say something about the city of Lisbon, about Portugal. And that stuck with me for the rest of the day. It stuck with me for the rest of the trip. And honestly, I still think about it occasionally today, 6.5 years later. And it wasn't until recently that I said to myself, well, this woman clearly had nothing to say. There's nothing to her. And she hasn't learned anything about where she's living. She couldn't tell you the first thing about being in Lisbon, about being in Portugal. And I look back now at everything that I've gone through with this process of relocating to Portugal. And it's just shocking to me that people like this exist. It's shocking to me that with the housing crisis in Portugal, this vapid idiot is occupying one of those precious apartments in Lisbon. She's wasting her life. She's wasting her experience. She's wasting this great opportunity that she had. Because this was 2018. I think she had gotten to Lisbon in 2017 when, people were figuring it out about Portugal. The cat was out of the bag. The secret was out. But, that cat that was out of the bag, it only had its front legs out of that bag. This is at a time when Lisbon was a lot more affordable than it is now. And I doubt if she's there now. I do remember her saying that she had a mortgage, that she actually bought a place. But I don't think it matters. I think when you find somebody who's that miserable, who has nothing good to say about anything, they don't last. They become nomads. And no pun intended, because the visa that I'm going to be going there on is the digital nomad visa. And I hate the term digital nomad. I don't want to be a nomad. I have no intention of moving around every year or so to a new country. I'm there to make Portugal my home. I'm there to rebuild one more time. And I am convinced that it'll be the last time I have to rebuild my life. With all the research I've done, yeah, I definitely feel Portugal's the right place for me. I have an appreciation. Whereas when you come across somebody who moves to another country because they're using it as an escape, well, they don't have an appreciation. And as I'm making this video, I don't want this to come off as sounding that, I'm pro-Trump, I'm this, I'm that. This channel is not about politics. And politics did not have one little shred within the reason of why I'm moving to Portugal. But if you're going to move to Portugal, if you're going to move to any country, be more respectful about it. Know why you want to be there. And if you don't have a reason to be there, then don't go. Because I can assure you, when you move to another country and it's out of a reason of negativity, you're looking for an escape, it's not going to work. And that's all I want to say about that. I don't want this channel ever to really be about American politics. That's not what this is about, but I get the feeling that lately, or just in the last few days, maybe there's been a few more applications put in. Maybe there's been more traffic on the websites of the Portuguese embassy and companies like Viv Europe, the company that's helped me get to the point where I am with moving to Portugal. And that's just wrong. It's just completely wrong. And I hope I never come across anybody like that when I get to Guimarães or anywhere in Portugal. Because I can tell you, it'll be a one-time meeting. I don't put up with people like that. So move overseas, follow your dreams, but do it for the right reasons. So I want to thank you all for watching. If you want more videos about moving to Portugal, the process involved, Portuguese football, anything Portugal, please smash that subscribe button. Like the video, leave a comment. Most importantly, subscribe. Subscribing to a YouTube channel is the #1 way to help a content creator. I want to thank you all for watching, and we'll be back here soon. Have a good one, everybody.